Hi, my name is Anastasia, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be talking about comfort reads. So I recently reread Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, which I haven't reread since it's a good a year and a half to 2 years, and it's one of my favorite books, and rereading it I felt, all the comfort of coming home and reading something familiar and something that I love and fills me with, with warm, cozy feelings. And I realized this is something that a lot of readers are going to do during this period because it's a very unsettling and very difficult period, and comfort is what we seek during this time. So that made me go back and think about which books I consider comfort reads, which books I consider that if I go back to that world, it's gonna make me feel better. This is not in any particular order because I didn't pre-plan this video. I was just feeling like I wanted to film a video, so I'm here and I'm winging it. So first book I want to talk about is, of course, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I mean, the first time I read this, I think I was either the last year of high school or the year before that, so it's been a while. And I read it a couple of times after that, but I had completely forgotten how much I love Fangirl, how much I love the characters and everything. If you didn't know, Fangirl is about Kath, who is going into her first year of university, and she's a renowned fan fiction writer. But Kath is a very isolated person. She doesn't really have any friendships other than her twin sister Ren, and coming into university she's in a completely new environment that scares her, and she's made to write something other than fan fiction, which is completely different and scary for her. I love Fangirl for a lot of reasons. I love it for depicting the transition between high school and university, which is a big change, and actually depicting all of the new experiences and the struggles of university from the point of view of someone who struggles with social interactions, which I don't necessarily do, but I have the moments where I feel very introverted and that being social takes energy. So I kind of relate to that aspect. It's a really beautiful book because you get to see how much Kath grows throughout the book, and it has one of the most adorable characters, Levi. I think I lost count of all the times that I was reading this book and I was like, God, he's so cute. He's a sweetheart. The things that he does for Kath or the things that he says, it's such a heartwarming romance, and he's such an adorable character. Just going back and reading this quirky dialogue and this very familiar character makes me feel very comforted. Now, of course, when we're talking about comfort reads, we usually talk about our favorite reads, and one of my two best favorite series of all time is Percy Jackson by Rick Riordan, and that includes both the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series and the Heroes of Olympus series. So I read Percy Jackson for the first time when I was 12. Was I 12? Probably, maybe 11. The series is, of course, about Percy Jackson, who in the beginning of the series is a 12-year-old boy who finds out that the 12 Olympians exist, and there are demigods in the world, and there are beasts, and there's the underworld, and his father is actually Poseidon, and he goes to a quest to save his mother, who has been abducted by Hades. And from then on, we follow him in so many adventures to the underworld, to Medusa's lair, to so many mythological places. It is a series based on Greek mythology, which is my weakness because I love Greek mythology, and the Heroes of Olympus series is based on Roman and Greek mythology. I grew up with Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson for me is what Harry Potter is for other people. So whenever I go back to it, I I feel like coming home. It's so familiar to me. I remember waiting for books like Mark of Athena to come out and begging my dad to bring me to the bookstore first thing in the morning or first thing after school so I can get the book. And I've laughed with this series, I've cried with this series, and it feels so much like coming home to me. It's also an amazing series to read because it has a diverse group of characters, especially the heroes of Olympus series, and it has witty banter. Percy Jackson is an amazing character, and it has some amazing role models for, kids growing up. And you also get to learn a lot about Greek mythology because Rick Riordan weaves through the story a lot of Greek mythology elements. He sprinkles a lot of information, and it's a fun way to learn about new things. Next up is, of course, my other all-time favorite series of all time, which is The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. While I love the Shadowhunter Chronicles, the first two series that I've read are The Mortal Instruments and The Infernal Devices, and the way I was introduced into this world was through The Mortal Instruments. I was completely obsessed with The Mortal Instruments. I could not function. Like, I would read, I think I binge read the books and then restarted them again, which is the same thing I did for Percy Jackson, so that doesn't happen a lot because I haven't done this with any other series other than the Percy Jackson series and The Mortal Instruments. I've reread these books so many times. At some point I started marking on the front cover of City of Bones how many times I reread it. I started annotating the books and highlighting my favorite moments. I learned English better through those books because I started highlighting the words that I didn't know. So there's so much familiarity for me with this story. There's so much. I grew up with these characters and I watched them grow up, and it was an amazing experience. And also it was the reason why I started being in love with fantasy, because I was introduced to so many different creatures like warlocks, vampires, werewolves. Going back to why this is a comfort read for me, I think, Cassandra Clare books are character driven, and I fell in love with this band of characters. I felt like they were my friends. They were so familiar to me. Even if I had 20 pages of them just sitting around chatting, it would be great for me. That would be a comfort read for me. It would make me feel so happy and so content. I do believe that most of people in BookTube know what The Mortal Instruments is about already, but if you don't know, it's about a 15-year-old Clary Frey who discovers a whole new world of shadow hunters and monsters when her mother gets kidnapped and she's taken into the institute and they're trying to find her mother, and she gets to battle demons and meet warlocks and find a whole new group of people, and it's a really, really, really fun and fast-paced story. The Mortal Instruments for me is what Grey's Anatomy is for other people. I will never stop reading Shadowhunter books. It's just, I will never. Keeping with the theme of Greek mythology, the next series that I consider a comfort read for me is the Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, there are a lot of series by Jennifer L. Armentrout that I love. I think I would definitely consider all of them comfort read, because even if I read the Lack series, I would love it because that's the first series I ever read, and I reread it a couple of times as well, so it's so familiar to me, and I love Damon. He's so fun, he's so good, like those scenes with him and, what's her name? Was it Lex? And I love White Hat Kiss. Oh, I think that trilogy, I binge read that trilogy. I read each book in a day. It was crazy. But the Covenant series has a special place in my heart because it has one of my favorite romances of all time, because for me, Alex and Aiden are so good together. It has that slow burn angsty romance because they don't get together until after a couple of books, and it's that forbidden kind of romance. I'm a sucker for a forbidden romance. So it has Greek mythology. It has a lot of action. Oh my god. There are some scenes that you're at the edge of your seat, and there are others. I've cried so many times throughout that series. Alex was what I wanted to be. She was like so confident, and she would speak her mind, and she was so witty, so I always loved that about her. I was immersed into this world. It was one of the few times that when I read a book, I could not get out of the world. I could not stop thinking about it. So whenever I read this series, I'm not thinking about anything else because I'm so focused on that. Another comfort read for me is another book from Jennifer L. Armentrout, which is Wait For You. She wrote that under the name Jaylene because it's actually new adult, because I wanted to spice things up and not just keep on going with fantasy. I did go through a phase some years back where I read only new adult all the time, and Wait For You is the one new adult book that I've read probably over 10 times. It's the perfect combination of a Wattpad story with better writing and better characters. So it's an adult Wattpad story, I guess. And it's about a 90-year-old Avery who goes to university away from home to escape a really dark past. And there she meets Cam, who is very, confident and very, I don't know, he's like the cool guy that everyone wants. But it's the way their relationship progressed. Again, I love slow burn stories, and that was a slow burn story. It was him chasing after her and her trying to say no but really wanting to say yes. Jennifer L. Armentrout really knows how to write romance, so if you're looking for good new adult romance, or if you're looking for a really good fantasy romance, check her out. She's amazing. She knows what she's doing. She's also a writing machine. She produces like 5 novels a year. It's ridiculous. I want to write like her. But yes, whenever I need some romance, but like something familiar that I know I'm gonna love, I always go back to Wait For You by Jaylene. I hope I'm not forgetting anything, because as I said, I'm pantsing through this video because I haven't sat down to kind of gather my thoughts or did any notes. So far, those are the books that immediately come to mind when I'm thinking of comfort reads. And the last series, or duology actually, that comes to mind, and is actually the newest addition to my comfort reads collection, is the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. I love this duology for a lot of reasons. It's like in 2 books, I went through so many emotions, it was ridiculous. I binge read the duology, I didn't even stop a day until I went to the second book. I read both books in I think 2 days or 3 days. It had my newest kind of love in books, which is a great anti-hero of a main character, which is Casbreaker. It's like a story that I would read again and again, and it's about a heist. How fun is that? You can never go wrong with the heist. So it's a story that makes me have fun, makes me forget about things. You can't help but be immersed in it and invested in it. So that was my comfort reads. My battery is dying, so I need to cut this real short. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.